Hi, it's Sivan from Cortisone Stone. What I'd like to talk about today is meditating with crystals. Now, you may know that the human body contains many different crystalline structures. For example, in the pineal gland, our third eye, there are calcite crystals, which are piezoelectric, and that simply means that they vibrate and emit tones and receive tones based on electrical impulses and electromagnetic currents. We also have crystals within our inner ear, and when those crystals are misaligned, this is the cause of vertigo. Our teeth are made of crystalline structures that are known to be some of the hardest material on Earth. And of course, throughout our body, you can find crystalline structures in our blood and our bones. So wherever you look, you're bound to find crystalline structures. And so we have an inherent resonance with crystals that are from the earth. I have here an apophyllite and stilbite aggregate crystal. So we have both the stilbite, which is the smaller pink structures here, and the apophyllite, which looks like quartz. And then this apophyllite crystal is double terminated. And you can see additional crystals showing up here that are all attached to the substrate, or what is referred to the matrix. So this is you could call it glue that the crystals have grown upon and attached themselves to. Now, I understand and am sensitive to sustainability with respect to crystals and the acquisition of crystals. And I have an outlook and a perspective that you may or may not share, and it's to each individual's point of view and perspective to determine whether or not crystalline meditation and acquisition is something that you prefer to do. Now, my larger overarching understanding, and this is my own personal understanding, is that the earth exposes to us the tools and insight that we need at the time that is most relevant for us. So while I am not an advocate of, as I mentioned, arbitrarily digging up this earth and exposing crystals, I do have an intrinsic belief that our earth provides us with the tools that we need at the time to move forward with our own evolution and our own ability to enhance and augment humanity's embracing of nature and Mother Earth, and bringing our biological systems in alignment as opposed to as individual disparate entities that happen to coexist on the same geolocation. So that's maybe a little bit overstated, but I do understand and respect the issues of sustainability with respect to crystals. Now, crystals have living properties. As I mentioned, these are living beings in and of themselves. They respond to impulses, electromagnetic and sound waves. So one can very, I think, easily envision themselves in a resonant frequency with the crystal that they are meditating with. Now, apophyllite and stilbite have their own unique properties, and it's not my intention to get into the specific details of apophyllite and stilbite in this recording, but in general, meditating with crystals is not unlike a focused meditation, if you will. And some might suggest that if we are focusing or concentrating, then it is not necessarily meditation. So I'm using this word kind of liberally and spreading it a bit like peanut butter. Let's call this crystal meditation, but this is interactive meditation. So in our meditation with crystals, first we want to be certain that those crystals are as clear as possible. And one could say that's cleaning the crystals, or however you choose to look at making your crystal most clear and clean energetically. It's important to determine whether or not your crystal, when cleaning it, is a crystal structure, a crystalline structure that is conducive to having or being exposed to water. Many crystalline structures will retain water, and it is very difficult to get that water out once it's been introduced, and that is non-beneficial to some crystals. So I just ask that you exercise caution and understanding when you are clearing your crystals. Many like to place their crystals in sunlight for several days. Bring them outside, put them on the porch or the step or a tree stump, and just allow them to air out. And you can imagine and envision crystal cleansing to be similar to your own cleansing. How does your body respond to light and fresh air and nature? And you can use these same principles in clearing space for your, or providing clarity to your crystals before meditating with them. Now, I believe it's important to come to meditation with your crystal from a place of gratitude and respect. Again, a crystal is a living entity, and so approaching it with a sense of understanding and mutual respect is important. Crystals do carry an energy charge, and so when meditating with crystals, one wants to practice the utmost respect. Because the charge that is resident within the crystal is an unknown charge, one wants to approach the boundary of the crystalline essence or the crystalline energy with that respect that you approach another individual with, another human, for example. If you're seated in sitting meditation with another human, you have a respect and a gratitude that both of you are in the space together, and that both of you are harmonizing your energies, and both of you have certain intentions that may or may not be the same. So I ask that you keep each of these things in mind as you approach meditation with your crystal. Now, I believe that it's a good idea to understand the properties of your crystal, perhaps before you engage in meditation with one. It is my interest and method to hold the crystal and observe its facets and observe its uniqueness, not only just at the level of the crystal type, but the individual crystals themselves. Now, I also, before meditation, I like to smell my crystal. There is a sense of history and richness and depth in utilizing as many senses as possible to interact and engage with our crystal. And I find that smell is very useful when getting to know and understanding the properties of your crystal and its history and its rich depth. You can have certainly imagined the age of these crystals that we are engaging with at a deeper level. And the history involved is phenomenal. And for me, smelling the crystal really brings forth a lot of that history and allows me to resonate with my history and my lineage. Now, if you're familiar with working with chakras, you might find that it is beneficial for you to hold your crystal within the area of interest that you're working on within your chakra system. And in other words, if you have a more powerful chakra center, let's say that you have the feeling of a very strong heart center, then as you meditate and slip into your meditative state, which I am doing right now, you might bring your focus to that heart chakra, exclusive of the crystal itself. And as you bring focus and alignment into your chakra system, and you bring up the energy in your heart center, you simply extend that energetic field of your heart center out and around your crystal and circulate that energy. And let that energy flow throughout your chakra system. And maybe you can envision circulating the energy here from your third eye down to your root chakra and back around in a loop. And then you might focus on simply one chakra and circulate the energy between the crystal and the chakra exclusively. And keeping in mind this, again, relationship of mutuals and relationship of respect. Now, as you become more and more familiar and practice with crystal meditation, you might find yourself pressing into the crystal and into the backside, if you can envision it, of each of the facets of the crystals that you're finding. So imagine your energy system is seeping into the matrix of the crystal itself, the inner crystalline structure, and pressing itself onto the inside of each facet, and in that way expanding into the crystal. Then allow that energy to reside there for a while, as long as it is comfortable, and let the crystal start to resonate in its own frequency. And as you do this, you may find a completely different perspective and point of view when you bring your awareness back into your own body and circulate it again. Now, it's important, I think, to remember as you bring your essence, your ethereal self back from the crystal and back into your own organic storage mechanism, your body, that you again bring a sense of enclosure and closure with the crystal, and enclosure of your own energy system within your own body, so that you have the opportunity to appreciate and ingest and integrate the experience that you have had while meditating with your crystal. And again, respect and gratitude for the properties and the uniqueness of this particular crystal that you have meditated with are beautiful, and is beautiful to close your practice with.